Hey there, saltwater angler, and welcome to the Lower Chesapeake Bay Fishing Report, bringing you the current fishing report, whether it's good, bad, or ugly. Now let's take a moment and learn who's making this show possible, and then we'll jump into the reports. Tired of battling salt corrosion on your boat, trailer, and reels? Meet Salt's Gone, your ultimate solution. This powerful, instantly acting chelating agent tackles salt and brine with ease, featuring corrosion inhibitors to protect against future damage and surfactants for a thorough clean. Salt's Gone is pH neutral, making it safe for all boat materials: metal, glass, paint, vinyl wraps, and more. Highly concentrated, just 1 gallon creates 100 gallons of ready-to-use solution. Apply it with or without running water. It's perfect for any situation. Use code GreatDays10 to save 10% at saltsgone.com. Or if you need faster delivery, use Amazon or your favorite retailer. Listen up. AFTCO has a promotional gift for all Great Days Outdoors Podcast Network listeners. They're now offering a camo sunglasses cleaner cloth with any purchase of AFTCO products. For those cold, wet, or windy days, I especially enjoy my weatherproof fabric barricade jacket, as well as my Helm insulated fishing gloves. All you got to do to get your coupon code is text LCBFR to 779-345-2918. You'll get subscribed to our email list, and we'll send you the promo code via email. All right, y'all. Snow is finally melting. I think I saw one little spot left in my yard. Otherwise, it's primarily gone. That was tough, man. Hampton Roads was definitely not ready for that snowfall. Although I got to give a shout out to all the folks who came into town from out of town and the local folks who run landscaping companies. Man, those parking lots got plowed very quickly, and it was really cool to see just how the folks around town came together to make those accommodations so that folks could drive safely and get to work or get to the grocery store. But man, that was some snow. Quick little story. So I've got 2 large dogs, and I thought it would be cool to lay one of those big tarps out and be able to rip it back when the snow was done, and the dogs would be happy, have a place to go poop and pee. Was not expecting 12 inches of snow, and the weight of the snow was just, I couldn't overcome it, couldn't pull the tarp back. It was about a 30 by 30, ended up still having to shovel. So lesson learned the hard way. But what has been cool is to see that the temperature's warming up a little bit, and some of that front and winds that were with it, starting to move out of the area. It's definitely opened up some opportunities for folks to travel and do a little fishing. And so this week's episode, we're going to dive in and talk to somebody who actually put their big old boat on the trailer, who still hadn't punched their HMS jumbo for the year yet for their vessel per year. So we're going to dive into a conversation with them to learn about, what does it take to actually hop on a trailer, get down to Oregon Inlet area and actually go chase a big giant bluefin tuna down. We're going to go through the whole process start to finish and hopefully learn a little bit of how you could do that if you are still in search of your jumbo for the year. So stay tuned for that conversation. We'll be with you real shortly. Did you know every 40 seconds someone has a heart attack or stroke? In that moment, every second counts and every critical decision matters. Air Medcare Network's air ambulance providers can provide life-saving care directly to those in need at a moment's notice. With 320 locations across 38 states, they're the largest air ambulance membership network. Rest assured, they've got you and your entire household covered. Membership is just $99 a year or just $79 for seniors. Visit gdo.deals/airmedcare to enroll. Sam Rust Seafood, your locally trusted source for premium wholesale seafood. Servicing customers from Hampton Roads down through the Outer Banks, Richmond, and surrounding areas, including Fredericksburg, Charlottesville, and Lynchburg, for over 80 years. Committed to the highest standards in the industry, Sam Rust distributes the best of the ocean directly to your restaurant, hotel, or grocery store on time and at a great price. Visit samrust.com to discover how quality, tradition, and sustainability come together. So don't cuss, call Sam Rust. All right, guys, welcome back. And it's time to dive in that conversation we were talking about there during the intro. What is it like to put a boat on a trailer, run from Virginia to North Carolina, put in a, kind of new to me or new to you guys ramp, and then go chase a bluefin tuna? So we're going to welcome back to the show one of our longtime friends of the show, Captain Eric Myers aboard Heads and Tails. Welcome back, Cap. How we doing?
Good, buddy. How you doing?
Doing good. I was chit-chatting, before we press record, and just, picking your brain about where does all this tuna go and, all this, that, and the other. I mean, how many people would you reckon you fed with bluefin tuna over the past couple of days?
I think so far I've had like 15 people in my neighborhood because I had the boat in front of my house.
Man.
And when we got back to the house on Sunday afternoon, it was really nice. So a lot of people were out walking their dogs, and most of the most of the husbands were out there, and they can't pass by a boat without saying, "Man, it's a pretty boat" or something like that,
Yeah.
or just saying something about how big it looks on the trailer. Which anything when you pull it out the water is big on the trailer.
hmm I remember the first time I yanked mine out and I was just like, man, I was like, it's almost a little overwhelming, but it's like an iceberg, a big portion of it sits below the waterline.
Yeah, it don't well that and it's perspective. You put it against a dock that's 30 foot long, and it's like, it's not that big.
Right. Right.
Or you put it in the water and you put it next to like a 40-some-foot sport fish next to it, and it's like, that is pretty small.
No doubt about that. Well, I'm curious. So obviously the HMS program, the highly migratory species permit, has different regulations each year and it changes, based on what's opened, what's closed, and one of those key factors is the ability to harvest what they call a jumbo, which is kind of give me the dimensions and just talk me through like how does that work and what's the regulations, per vessel per year.
So recreationally, you're only allowed one giant bluefin, which is bigger than 73 inches
Okay.
uh, a year. Other
So
than that, you can have I think they're called school size, which is like
27.
27 to like 43 ish, and then one fish per day that's like 43 to 72,
Okay.
73.
Got it. Yeah, and I need to pull those up to refresh my memory because I know it's something that you have to check it on a regular basis. It's not like fixed. Is that correct?
Yeah, any day it could be the giant sections could be shut down. Or
Mm-hmm.
I know in December you're allowed one giant, one medium fish, and you're able to catch those in one trip if you catch your small one first.
Got it. Okay.
Uh,
Let's see here. So it's the fisheries.noaa.gov, the recreational bag limits by permit. So there's the permits page. So, okay. So it looks like it has actually adjusted slightly again because I remember a couple of weeks back, some things had changed where it went from being able to capture, two under a certain amount. So I'll find the exact correct link and drop it in the show notes, but it's definitely worth, checking out to make sure that everything you're doing is above board. And then, like you were saying, so there's the per vessel per day or trip, regulation, and then the per vessel per year. So once you capture that 73 inch or greater, your vessel that HMS permit is tied to, you're done for the year. Like for another 365 days, you cannot capture a fish over 73 inches, correct?
yes, sir.
Got it. Okay. So what went through your mind? I mean, I'm just curious. You've got, yeah, obviously that's a big boat, 30, what, 31-foot contender?
Yes, sir.
All righty. So putting that thing on a trailer and talk me through the logistics. So like in order to go chase a bluefin down in Oregon Inlet from Virginia Beach, like step by step, what went through your mind? What was your checklist? And what did you have to do to ultimately get on the water down there?
Well, we started with totally rebuilding our trailer thanks to Coastal Marine, which is right here off of Shore Drive. They work on boat trailers, and they were able to order all new parts stuff that needed to be changed because all my brakes were, I
Shot.
mean, just shot. They were rusted up, and the trailer was fine for going from Coastal Marine to Lynnhaven boat ramp. Basically, like I wouldn't trust it to go to
Further.
my house from the boat ramp.
Right.
So they got most of those parts all put in for us. After that, new hubs on all six axle or all six tires.
hmm Oh,
And
so it's a triple axle trailer to carry that boat.
yeah, yeah, it's a triple axle trailer. So I
Wow.
mean, six hubs, six tires,
Pulled that
six
behind
brakes.
your, what truck are you pulling that with?
F-250 diesel.
Got it. Okay. Man. And
Yeah,
then, if I'm a betting man, I feel like every time I've ever hooked my boat up to any boat trailer, it's a pretty much 99% chance that no shot all the lights are working
yeah,
ever.
yeah. Pretty much, it's good for the day that you wire it up, and after that, it's
Toast.
you're running a gauntlet.
Right. Exactly.
You're
Uh,
chasing electrical demons because, I mean, you're soaking a trailer in salt water. I mean,
yeah.
it's
It's bound to happen. I mean, I feel like every
bound to
time you
happen.
you yank it out and you're trying to be, careful and wash the whole trailer down and maybe even use your salts gone and this, that, and the other. But inevitably you somehow miss a spot and then, fast forward a couple of months and you start to see rust and your leaf springs and then, the wires corrode a little bit and then it's game over. So one day
Yeah.
somebody will invent a bulletproof trailer for the lighting to make sure that no matter what, they work. So there's a challenge for anybody listening. Come up with a solution for boat trailer lights to where they don't break so consistently. So I'm curious, the difference between like going across town versus trailing your boat all the way, to North Carolina. Like how long is that drive from here to, from Virginia Beach to the ramp?
I think from Virginia Beach to the ramp, I think it was like 86 miles. It's not that far, but it's always good to have. I mean, I had two spare hubs already packed with grease, popped the nut off, put the new hub on, that type of deal.
Yeah.
Um, we've had a lot of practice. In high school, we did a lot of bass fishing, a lot of trailering out of state. So we've had pretty much everything that could go wrong with a trailer. We got stories for days on that. And he just
Yeah.
times that by the bass boat we had at the time had a tandem axle. So, I mean, times that by three. So
Yeah.
there's three times the amount of stuff that could go wrong. All
Right.
three axles have brakes on them on my
Oh,
contender
wow.
trailer. Highly recommend making sure your brakes work. I mean, there's nothing like getting shoved through a stoplight.
Yeah.
I mean, that's how a lot of accidents happen.
That's a scary feeling. I mean, the braking on your trailer, is it electronic braking with the trailer or surge braking?
Surge.
Surge. And
Surge brake.
I'm not super familiar with the difference. Do you
There's an
understand that?
there's an actuator on the tongue that when the boat presses against the truck stopping, it'll push fluid to those brakes. So
Ah,
it'll
okay.
slow down when your truck slows down, your trailer will start to brake.
Got it. Okay. So it's
Um,
not just putting all that pressure against the brakes on your truck. It's actually compressing the trailer into the hitch and then pushing that
yeah.
fluid and closing those calipers. Got it. Okay. That makes a lot of sense because I think those are pretty much shot on my trailer because I have felt that feeling of getting pushed through a stoplight where you
Yeah.
try to you try to feather those brakes and it's just like no, there's nothing happening here. You're going to just keep on moving. And that's a good point about having the extra hubs packed and ready to go. Are there any other like logistical challenges that you have to overcome when going that distance or other prep items that you ensure that you have?
It's always good to have like a big impact gun that you can change those tires out with.
Hmm.
Uh, just this trip, we blew a tire on our way back, middle tire, which was kind of cool. Um,
Yeah.
it made it all almost to the driveway. We were turning into the street, and I heard it go. Psh. I was like, "Sweet, made it home."
That's I
So,
guess of the tires that could go, that's the one that you want to go. Uh
yeah, I mean, it's kind of a pain to change, but it is what it is at that point.
yeah,
You're home, you're safe, and it's not on the side of the road somewhere.
true
Um,
story. Uh
five or six other different ways to change those tires. I know people make like jigs and stuff that you can pull the trailer up on, and it'll lift the back tire. Like if you have a tandem axle, like you basically like stack 2x4s on top of each other about three high,
yeah.
and you make basically a ramp that you can pull the trailer up on, and it'll
Ah,
pull one of the tires off the ground for you.
got it. Instead of
Um,
trying to jack, which is obviously a little bit tricky with the amount of weight from a boat.
yeah, when you got 10,000 pounds, 16,000 pounds, it's a little different.
Yeah,
Um,
I'm curious, how much does your boat weigh when it's fully loaded with fuel? Because I saw in your Instagram story that you guys were fueling up on land before heading down there.
yeah, yeah, we are happy to take a couple cents off the
Right.
fuel bill on a run. But I mean, I want to say it's like 15,800,
Oh, wow.
15,100, something. What is
That's
fully loaded tackle rods, all that stuff.
yeah,
Um, it's
that's a heavy
it's a
boat to be
old,
pulling.
it's an older boat, so they really didn't know how strong fiberglass was. So my hull's thick,
It's
and
like,
then
well,
I mean plus fuel, and I have fresh water on my boat too that I had full.
mm,
That way we could spray the boat off at the ramp before coming home, which
smart.
honestly didn't even make any difference because you know how it snowed 3 days ago. So there's water all over the road from the snow melting on the sides. So it got covered in grime and
Ugh.
gnarliness, and salt.
That's
Beautiful.
tough. That's tough.
It is, but I invested in some of that salt gone stuff, and that stuff works really good on that.
Yeah, I mean, say that again louder for the kids in the back because I can't, you know, I cannot emphasize how helpful that stuff is. I mean, tell me just in 30 seconds, Cliff's notes, like life before salt's gone, life after salt's gone. What would you say has been the big difference for you?
Honestly, it is the fact of just getting over the fact that fresh water doesn't get the salt off.
Hmm.
Like you can sit there and spray fresh water, and you're like, oh yeah, it'll be fine for tomorrow if you got charters back to back. And then you come down and you still get like those little salty deposits on like your anodized aluminum
Mm-hmm.
for like your tower and stuff, and it's like, oh, that can't be good.
Yeah.
But like that's salt gone stuff. I mean, we sprayed it on once, and
It just takes,
it's like slick. It's
yeah.
slick.
Yep. That's the I think it's called the chelating agent that's in it that leaves behind like the electrons and then there's like that final waxy type coating and the two work together to basically act like a little surface layer of a sacrificial anode so the salt is able to absorb that instead of getting into your metals. And then, of course, it leaves that smooth coating behind that over time makes it just that much easier to rinse the boat off or scrub surfaces. It actually if you can imagine any fiberglass or any areas on the boat where there's like some micro pores or micro porous surfaces, it will slowly but surely build up and kind of like fill those gaps in so you can clean things off smoother and easier.
Yeah, it definitely took it all the salt off the road grind salt off the sides of the boat after trailering it.
That's awesome. That's great to hear. So I want to, dive into the actual fishing. So from a perspective of like licensing and permit, did you have to change anything to go fish out of North Carolina waters, or does the HMS permit that you have cover, geography, whether you're here in Virginia or North Carolina waters?
Uh, it covers Virginia and North Carolina.
Okay,
Um,
got it. And then did you chase a report or did you just have an idea because of a water shot that you looked at? Like what gave you the indication that it was time to go down there instead of, going out of Lynnhaven and heading east?
Basically, because my good buddy Bryce, he came up from Texas, and that's been one of those things where like he brought his boat up when he was stationed up here, and he had a 26-foot Glacier Bay, and I think we made like 5 or 6 hauls down to Oregon Inlet. Never did catch a bluefin. We
Ah,
got tied a few times and just could never really seal the deal.
yep.
And it just happened to be that the season was open, and he came up last week, and I mean he drove through a snowstorm from Charlotte after his flight got canceled, and I was like, you know what? We kept watching the weather for the weekend. I was like, dude, I think Sunday's supposed to be pretty. So we were like, we got to go do it. We got to go try at least one more time together. And
But buttoned one up. What time did y'all get up in the morning to drive down?
12:15.
Oof.
Hey,
So 12:15 a.m.
yeah.
Drive down. What time did you hit the water?
I think we got the boat in the water at like 4:03. We got to the ramp at 3:45, and
Goodness.
then we have a tower on the boat, so you got to put that up. You got to put the outriggers on. I have to bolt the Starlink back in, all that stuff, and that all takes time, and you don't want to be the last person to leave the ramp.
Right.
Um,
Right.
especially for me. I mean, a good buddy of mine sent me a route out of the inlet, but it's always nice to follow a big boat that goes out every day out of there, which is nice about launching out of the fishing center.
Yeah.
Most of those guys are helpful, very helpful to get out. They'll lead the way for everyone.
Mm-hmm. Because that inlet changes almost daily in terms of the pattern and the sand that builds up. So I mean, even if those guys weren't there, would you have felt comfortable navigating out, like just trusting your bottom machine, or would it
I
have
mean, it
been
would have been just one of those bump and go, connect the dots, try to get
yeah,
out, but it's so much easier just following one of those boats, one of
yeah,
those guys that fish out of there every day. I mean,
yeah.
we followed, I want to say it, outrigger out.
Okay.
He was nice. He hollered at another boat that was in front of him that was playing a whole bump bottom game to just get behind him. So that was nice.
That's cool. That's definitely a good sign of like just locals being friendly and willing to help, tag you on the radio, hey, follow me. And as far as like coming back in, are you safe to like if you followed him out and you have a route, saved on your plotter, can you pretty much trust that on the way back in and follow that identically?
Yeah, that's what we
Okay.
did.
Got it.
Typically, I mean, my boat only draws like 2.5 foot
Okay.
at tops. And then those boats that we're following out, I mean, they're probably drawing at the least maybe 3.5, at the most
Hmm.
maybe 5 when
Yeah.
they're on plane. So I
Right.
mean,
Right.
you have a little bit of makes you feel good leaving the inlet behind a big boat.
Yeah.
It's just safer.
Yeah. And you're like,
Um,
I'm confident they're going to bump the bottom before I ever would. And then in terms of like going into sort of like uncharted territory for you, obviously you fish out of the Lower Chesapeake Bay primarily, trying to target a bluefin down there off of Oregon Inlet. Like, how does it differ between like, when you leave out of Lynnhaven, you head east, you're looking for what? Birds, bait, water temp breaks. Do you do kind of the same thing, or is there a different strategy leaving out of the fishing center down
I
there?
mean, it's the same strategy targeting those. It's just nicer because you get to go fish the Gulf Stream.
Mm.
So we left the dock. I think it was like 31 degrees when we started fishing. It was like 70.
Like the air
Uh,
temperature too?
yeah, it was at least 68. I mean,
Wow,
we were in t-shirts and our Grundens.
that's
I was there.
amazing. I don't think that I ever really understood that until somebody like broke it down for me and explained just how, warm the water is and how much it impacts the actual air temperature. So, how far out did you guys have to go until you hit the Gulf Stream?
I think it was about 34 miles.
34? Okay.
Yeah, not far. It's the same distance we were running from here to go bluefin and around the windmills.
Okay.
Same sort of distance. Just it was one of those slick, calm days, so it was nice being able to run 31 knots going straight out there. And I mean, the outriggers never bounced once. Never
That's
saw a wave in the bar. It was
that's a
awesome.
dream. That's a dream day, especially for a guy like me who doesn't prefer you
The
know,
bump.
the bumping and the seasickness that's inevitable. And I mean, out of however many boats, I'm sure it was a busy day out there. Did you guys see a lot of boats around, or were you able to kind of, find a little nook?
We were pretty much in the fleet. We kind of all went the same direction. And I gotta say, the Oregon Inlet guys and the Hatteras guys, they work really well, and they call out all their bites. I tried to do the same thing for everyone because I mean, everyone's just trying to make a living, go catch a fish, and be safe about it. So
Yeah.
it's not like some of the stingy stuff around here where I know a lot of guys around here. We all work really well and we don't really care. We'll
Right.
tell you exactly where we're at.
Yeah.
But it's nice to hear pretty much everyone down there. It's great.
Oh, and obviously that's a cultural thing. It's a Southern hospitality thing. It's probably a little bit of like a maturity thing. But what would you say is like the big difference between the fleet out of, Virginia Beach, versus down there in terms of like why would you guess that those guys are so much more hospitable than the general fleet up this way?
Probably because everyone grew up with everyone. Everyone that's been on the water has been on the water together for years.
Hmm.
All the mates you see, or all the guys you see running the boats were mates at one point. They didn't just get a boat and start running charters. So
Right.
they all they all know the original captains, and the captains know them.
And it's all there is. I mean, not all there is to do, but it's one of the primary reasons that you would live down there is, the commercial and charter fishery. So it's like, whereas up here we got a lot more folks that are maybe hobbyists, like myself, recreational. Down there, it's a little bit more of a way of life. So maybe with that comes a certain,
It's like a brotherhood to it.
yeah, brotherhood. That's a great word to put it. Like a country club, sort of
Yeah.
lifestyle of like, hey, we're all respectful and this, that, and the other. All right, so you're out there, you're kind of getting located, you get in the Gulf Stream. Once in the Gulf Stream, like what'd you look for? Were you looking at your bottom machine, birds? Like what drew you into or what made you finally decide to slow down and put, baits out?
Well, we passed two or three boats hooked up. We decided to run like another. I think we ran another 2 miles out east of everyone because a lot of the other boats were stopping there. And me being just two guys with me, three guys total on my boat, I wanted to get all my stuff out before we got into any crap show.
Yeah.
Uh, a lot of guys are getting triples, quads, five fish hookups, and I was just like, let's get all the rods out first, and we'll figure it out when we turn around and try to head back into that little break. The water temp went from like 60 to 73.
Wow. And
Um,
guys getting, 4 and 5 hooks up. Are those the big jumbos that they're getting hooked up on, or schoolie size?
some were the jumbos, some were the schoolies. So we we were buddy boating with Chris on Kill Shot, the other
Hmm.
31 contender.
Yeah, yeah, I know that boat well.
Yeah, he called us right out the gate. Apparently, he put out two rods and got eight, and then pulled that fish off. Put out another two rods, and both rods went. And then I think his fish was like 619 or something.
Wow.
Oh, they fought that fish. They fought two fish at the same time for probably I think 2 hours or so. Because when
Goodness.
he hooked up again, he called us, told us to come find him, and we turned around, and before the lines could straighten out the back of the boat, we were on it already. So
Man, that is wild.
just an
It's
80 wide
interesting.
dumping off,
Yeah, I was gonna say
and
that's,
it was a
I want
mad dash to clear everything else. Mad dash.
so much power pulling on that reel. And I mean, I'm looking at the team kill shot. It's literally the almost exact same contender as yours, like you were saying. And they ended up landing a 617 pounder that same day. Wasn't old Mike Roby hanging out with them that day?
Yes, sir.
Good on you,
We had
Mike.
the old meet and greet right there at the slip before leaving the dock. It was great.
That's awesome.
And
Was that a hooked on hope trip?
no,
Okay,
that was just a fun trip. We were both doing fun trips that day. Um,
very cool.
it was just beautiful weather. You really had to just take advantage of it. I mean,
Hmm.
the last I think 3 days, 4 days have been just
Beautiful.
beautiful.
Yeah, that's awesome. So obviously you had Ryan Bird on board with you, as well as Bryce. I missed a call from you that morning, but we got to chat later on in the day, and you guys had the fish in the boat. I mean, it was big. How big, or I should say, how long was your fish?
It was 88 inches,
Man,
and
butterball too.
it was round.
I know you
The
guys you didn't
funnest
weigh it,
part of that. No, we didn't weigh it.
right?
We uh we got in right before I guess the fishing center was taking phone calls.
Got it.
Um,
Okay.
I mean we weren't doing it for the weight. We Bryce wanted to take some bluefin tuna home, and I was just happy to have it on the boat. But he was able to fill out a citation once we got there for the length, so that was nice.
That's awesome.
Um,
Is what is the length citation on the bluefin? Is it the 73-inch mark?
I have no idea to be honest with you.
Let's ask the
Never.
old Google machine. Bluefin tuna citation length. I know somebody else got one that when I was on board. Okay, 60 inches. So that's way, way over by a long shot. That's awesome, man. What a cool
Yeah,
experience for him to finally, after what you said, 6 trips on his Glacier Bay.
yeah. From basically, I think we started doing this in 2017 together.
Wow.
And then from 2017 to 2020, we fished pretty much every winter trying to get one. Which is funny because 2018 we did actually hook one off Virginia Beach, right off Fisherman's Island, right in the middle of the Menhaden guys. That was pretty epic. But no
Wow.
one really nobody really batted an eye to that. It took what another 4 or 5 years before people started running out there and
Paying attention
hooking
to
up
the
again.
fact. Yep, absolutely. And I got to commend. So who took the harpoon shot?
Oh, that was old Mr. Mayor Ryan Porter.
Ryan Porter. So that's got to be one of the most money shots in terms of like preserving the meat. But I was also amazed that it actually made it through.
Dead. Like he put that thing through that harpoon tip went through that fish's spine and just killed it right then because it was getting ready to go do another dive.
Oh my
We were only
gosh.
an hour in on that fight, and
Wow.
that fish came up mad, turned sideways next to the boat, getting ready to dive, and he shoved that harpoon right through that thing's gill plate right into his spine.
That was, I
Dead.
mean,
I mean, the fish was just sitting there twitching. The fins were
yeah.
twitching. It was
Yeah. I
the
know
most perfect shot you can get.
you guys were fishing on heads and tails, but I mean, I know the other contender was over there, but that was the kill shot. I mean,
Yeah,
we'll post pictures with the episode, obviously, but I mean, you could see like the hole goes right in through the gill plate, right into the middle of its, back, spine and everything. I mean, it's the perfect shot. I mean, that Ryan, if you're listening, we all bow down to you. That was the
that
harpoon
was
shot of the
good to
season for
get.
sure. Yeah, absolutely. So the
I
question
was
is,
proud of because
you were proud? Yeah.
yeah, because I told him I was like, when you hit him, you got to make sure you hit him. I don't care where, I don't care when.
Yeah.
If you're not comfortable, don't throw it. And he waited. I mean, we had a kind of a messed up harpoon shot that he could have took, but it would have been that fish was all black back, and it ended up taking another 100 yards of line right after we saw it. And I was like, thank God we did not stick that fish.
Yeah, no doubt. Black
Um,
back. Now, that's where they are still very vertical in the
Yeah,
water, right? So they're
they're
still
not turning
super strong.
sideways. They're not turning sideways. They're freely swimming. Like that drag's not doing anything to them. They're not pulling against it. That fish is just sitting there swimming, green as can be.
Mm. Not
And
not time to stick anything in it. That's for sure. You got
yeah,
to wait
not
till.
time to poke it and piss it off.
Yeah, that makes sense. So how many giant bluefin has Ryan harpooned, or was that his first?
That was the first.
Ryan, if you're listening, you should never try to harpoon one again. You you have achieved perfection right out of the gate. Just go ahead and retire from harpooning bluefin tuna. But he's a young man, and you get to do
Yeah.
one of these per year. So he'll probably be able to do this 20 or 30 more times in his lifetime at least. But I'm curious, from your perspective, obviously we were dragging certain baits up here. Everybody was using, ballyhoos on Joe shoots and this, that, and the other. What did you guys pull? What did you get your bite on? How fast were you going? Or was it very similar to up here out of Virginia
The
Beach? Or
exact same as here.
okay,
We pulled two heavy heads. I think they were 8 or 9 ounce heavy heads. One on the flat, one on the long rigger, and then we pulled we pulled two 3 ounce heads. One on the long rigger, one on the flat, and we had a ballyhoo on the long and a Z-man on the long, and then a Z-man and a ballyhoo on the flats too. So there's a little
and
bit of everything.
how long was your Z-Man?
It was the big heroes. I think they're 10 inch.
Okay,
They're, they're perfect. I mean, they swim great.
yeah,
We caught a bunch of fish on them up here, but that
and
fish ate a ballyhoo on the glow head magic tail
got
three
it,
ounce.
got it. Very, very cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's just it gets me excited all over again. Going back to our bite on December 28th. I mean, there's just nothing more exciting. I
Than
mean,
just watching a real meltdown.
oh gosh, I mean, or just hearing that line pop out of the clip, and you just know that it's fish on, and you hear that drag start screaming. I mean, it's become one of the biggest, wildly popular fishing shows to watch. Wicked Tuna, but it's for a reason. It's the MMA. It's the gladiators meeting in the Coliseum. It's the ultimate fish fight that you can possibly ever get into. And then obviously the reward being the best tasting, sashimi grade fish that you've ever had in your entire life. So I'm pretty sure that all of your neighbors are just like, went home after you got home, just like, man, we are so lucky that Cap Merrick Myers moved into our hood.
Yeah. Yeah, there's a lot of happy families and a lot of people that had to get to put the dogs up and come back with coolers. It was great.
That's awesome,
It
man.
helped us out. So, I mean, it filled up my whole stand up fridge that I keep in my garage. I got 3 shelves in there and they're full all the way down.
That's awesome. And what's your address for everybody listening so we can come break in and take your whole stash? I'm just kidding.
Oh
Uh,
God.
jokes aside, though, if somebody is considering making this trip themselves, you know, from the trailing process to, fishing safely and successfully, like what are some top tips that you would give us if we're considering making this trip ourselves?
It's got to be making sure your trailer's sound. 'Cause it sucks if you fork out all that money, get ready to go, and because I mean you're out. We were out probably $400, probably $500 before we even got out of Virginia that
Oh
morning,
yeah, that's
getting
right.
fuel and ice,
Yeah.
plus the ballyhoo and any sort of assortment of hooks and leaders.
Hmm.
Make sure that trailer is good to go. You don't want to cause an accident. You don't want to lose your pride and joy.
Right. No
Yank
doubt.
down the road. Um,
Yeah.
Other than that, I mean, always got to have a good jack, spare hub, spare tires. I mean, I got 2 spare tires and 2 spare hubs in my truck when I go. Will you ever need all of it at the same trip? God, I hope not.
Right.
Um,
That's a bad trip.
yeah, we got home and blew a brand new tire out. So I mean, it's brand new,
There you go.
less than a month old.
She couldn't deal with the pressure.
Yeah.
But tell the listeners what happened, what broke right before you guys took off. This was funny. The picture you sent me is hilarious. What are you
Oh man.
what are you holding and when and how did that happen?
So we were pulling out of the Wawa off of Battlefield Boulevard, and there's a divot going up into that driveway to Wawa, and we just didn't realize how low the jack stood on there because the boat was way heavier than I normally have it when I pull
Yeah.
it, and
Yep.
the jack that we had the foot re-welded on, so it didn't slide all the way up,
Oh
but it's never
no.
been a problem.
Until then.
Yeah, until then, and we popped that ground with it, and it popped right off the trailer. That was great. I mean, that was the first 30 minutes of our day.
Oh
Not
man.
even 1 o'clock when we already broke something. So
one
but it
o'clock
was,
in the morning when that happened.
yeah,
Ugh, that's brutal. And for those listening, that's like you got the handle and you kind of wind it up in order to, jack the,
jacket
the
off,
front of the trailer
off
up
the
and
truck.
get it off the truck. So that little, kickstand, if you will, was just low enough to catch the ground and just snap the whole thing right off your trailer. So you had no way of disconnecting. That's an interesting thought too, because obviously you had to get that fixed when you got back, but like you would have no way of disconnecting the trailer from your truck.
I mean, I keep a 5-ton jack in my truck in a couple blocks.
Well, there you
I can
go.
get it off the truck, but
Ain't gonna be pretty.
it's not going to be the best. It won't
Right.
be the worst, but yeah, we
Man.
gotta always have a jack in the truck too. Don't rely on
Yeah.
shims and stuff to get the trailer wheels off the ground. Some spots you park, you got too much weight on the ground anyway to even pull those trailer tires off the ground, especially if
Right.
your boat's loaded like mine was.
Yeah.
Um,
It's it's good you mention all that because, I'm playing a couple scenarios out in my mind in terms of like when the weather is dicey and it's cold, obviously that brings the safety measure up way higher out on the water, but also on land, if you're not prepared, you don't have that jack, something happens and you end up stranded somewhere with your truck and attached to your boat where you couldn't go anywhere. I mean, you could find yourself in a somewhat dangerous position, very quickly where like you said, just a couple extra, steps preparing and making sure you have the necessary gear, you can ensure that that's really not ever an issue. So I kind of just enjoy getting to walk through this whole process with you of just like this sort of epic, journey to like leave early in the morning, battle ready,
yeah,
trailer,
I mean,
boom, put it all together, and then come home with, an absolute hammer of a bluefin tuna. It's quite the
it's an
accomplishment.
endeavor,
It is an endeavor. And I mean, you got to
and
be tenacious to do that. Like it's a serious commitment. It's a full 24-hour commitment.
yeah, yeah. I mean, there's been times where I've gone with other people, and I mean, you go out, you don't get your bite first thing, and all of a sudden you're fishing a little later than you thought you would. And if you fish an hour later out there, you're typically it's 5 hours later getting home.
Right.
That's how I put it.
Yeah.
And I mean, and if something goes wrong, I mean, you're looking at 10, 12 hours before you're
Yep.
either back to the dock.
Yep. And then you're driving blurry-eyed home trying to, stay awake and
Yeah.
it brings a lot of things into place. I'd say my big takeaways is definitely the safety and preparation is key. If you know how to catch a bluefin tuna, that's probably a reason that you're going to be leaving in the first place to try and go do it. It's probably not what you want to do as your like first try to go catch a bluefin tuna. But your best bet is to really just go ahead and hop on board of a pro charter like yourself. So, folks that are listening and are like, man, that sounds like an adventure I want to go on or just get to go fish with you here for some upcoming things, whether that's, I guess sea bass is over in a couple of days. What's next on the docket for heads and tails in terms of charter trips coming up and how can we book those?
That'll be red drum and black drum in the bay. And then should be sea bass and possibly bluefin again in May.
Oh, wow. So they'll be potentially migrating back up north.
Yeah, last year we had 2 days in a row where we had beautiful conditions, and Cobia rods are not made to catch any size bluefin tuna. Um, but yeah, they were out there last May, so hopefully we can do that again and actually seal the deal on a small schoolie, hopefully with a couple sea bass in the box.
That'd be awesome. Well, I appreciate you hopping on and just talking us through that process and those tips about what to do to be safe and to be successful. Folks want to get up with you and book a trip. I know they can hop on your Valley Pro site, which we'll drop the link to. What's some other ways they can get in touch with you to get booked?
They can reach out through Facebook or they can call me directly at 757-573-9569.
All righty. Well, Captain Merrick, thanks always for hopping on and sharing with us about your recent fishing adventures. We always look forward to it. We'll look forward to talking to you soon.
Thank you, buddy.
Absolutely. All right, folks, that's going to wrap up a really cool segment talking about all things trailering and chasing bluefin tuna. Stick around for a word from our sponsors, and we'll be back with you real soon for the What Did You Learn? It's time we talked about catching some serious savings. Imagine harnessing the power of the sun to cut your energy bills and having a roof that's built to last. Convert Solar and Roofing specializes in top-notch solar installations and durable roofing solutions that stand up to the toughest elements. Their solar panels are designed to maximize efficiency, and their roofs are built with premium materials to ensure long-lasting protection. Whether you're out on the water or at home, their expert team ensures you're covered. As fellow anglers in the Lower Chesapeake Bay, the team at Convert Solar and Roofing cares about both sustainable living and sustainable fishing. So reel in those savings today and visit www.convert-solar.com or call 757-44-SOLAR. Make your energy and roof as reliable as your favorite fishing lure. Call Convert Solar and Roofing today. Hooked on fishing? Then you're part of the local community that Long Bay Point Bait and Tackle cares about serving and giving back to, providing you with the right selection for each season's target species. They're your one-stop shop to gear up with the best bait, tackle, and insider tips to catch your next trophy fish. You can fuel up right out front on the water and then chat with the crew inside for hot tips on where they're biting. So swing by today. Long Bay Point Bait and Tackle, where your fishing adventures start and finish with your trophy catch on their scales. Pure Flat slick lures are tried, true, and guide approved. Slick lures catch big speckled trout, redfish, flounder, and more. You can cast them a mile, and they produce a highly erratic bait fish imitation with a twitching retrieve. The tournament-winning slick has helped many anglers set personal best records. Whether you're fishing the OG slick, the smaller profile slick junior, or the versatile lil slick, one is sure to find that unforgettable thump we're all after. Visit your local tackle retailer or pureflats.com for your favorite color and rigging combination. Go sling some slicks today. You can't catch them on the sofa. Man, I learned a lot from Captain Eric, but especially, the important ones, having the jack ready to go, your spare hubs, spare tire. Obviously, food and water is important too. I'm sure that that's a given. But man, just a really cool learning experience about, what it takes to actually like get up and get there, avoid a cost of a hotel room and be able to just go down there and chase a bluefin. Also picked up that tip about getting out there the right time of the morning, about 4 o'clock in the morning, so that you can be ready to follow some of the local fleet out. That's obviously critical too. So again, anyone listening that's considering, running this trip themselves recreationally, I think a couple of things really stand out. Safety is paramount. Make sure that you got a great team, folks that you trust, that know what they're doing, know their way around your boat. Make sure you've got, tools, safety equipment, backup supplies, this, that, and the other, just like Eric talked about. And then third and final, obviously, pick your weather days. That's really critical. You want to be safe. Make sure that when you're in some foreign water that you're not super familiar with, that you're at least not contending with, rough, nasty conditions. And then obviously salt's gone, being able to soak down your boat trailer and truck and get all that road grime off and salt. The salt's gone is obviously a really important factor in terms of long-term care of your boat and trailer. Keeping that rust and corrosion away is huge. So I hope you guys got some good tidbits out of that, some good lessons and nuggets that you can take and apply for your next trip when you go to chase your jumbo, or even just go down there when the fishing gets good. Definitely a lot of learning that we did there from Captain Eric that'll make us more capable to go down there and do those kinds of trips. So hope you guys enjoyed that. Excited for some warm weather hopefully around the corner. I feel like it's going to be spring before we know it. I don't know about y'all, but I can't wait to get back out there and chase some cobias or get out on a good flounder bite, or even just be able to run the boat around the inlet and bump up on a sandbar and have a cold beer. But with that said, you guys be safe. We'll look forward to checking with you next week. We got a really cool special episode next week. I'm excited to share. It's going to be a good one. So y'all be safe out there, and we'll talk with you real soon. So that's going to wrap it up this week. Please subscribe, rate, and review wherever you listen to podcasts. And remember, to get your free Aftco Camo Sunglasses Cleaning Cloth, just text the acronym LCBFR to 779-345-2918 to get your promo code and be added to our email list so we can send you the new show each week. You guys keep whacking them and be safe out there.